Hey everybody, Bill in Thailand. Welcome back. So I'm starting this episode off by cleaning the Kato Unitrack trestle. Now you can look down there and you can see the track is not very shiny. Well, I pulled out some turpentine and I've got some Q-tips, and you can already see what a difference it made on the track over on this side. Nice and shiny, and I'll come back with a paper towel and clean it and then run some equipment on it. But that's just off the one bridge. That was nasty. No wonder my engines were not operating. So I'm going to get this one cleaned up. Very simple, be very careful, and just kind of rub the top of the rail, and it comes right off with this stuff. So I'll show you the after here in just a minute. So I was able to get a lot off, and it's hard to see from this angle, but the track is pretty scratched up. Looks like somebody used something that was very abrasive on it, even more so than a Bright Boy, almost like sandpaper. So a lot of little micro scratches all across. I can feel it with my fingernail. What I will do is next time I go back to the States, I will bring back just a dab of my NOx ID and put it on the track anyway, in this kind of a climate that I think would be very useful to keep the track from oxidizing, getting that crust or film on top. And on a bridge like that, where there's a lot of little small scratches, the NOx ID would kind of get in there and improve the electrical conductivity going to the engine. But let's see if it made any improvement as I'm going to run an engine across it here. So I'm going to use that little Bachmann engine. Let's see here. There we go. That's much better. There was a little hesitation just coming off of the bridge over here. And I can see where I can do a little bit better cleaning right there. Let me see if I can do anything with that and see if I can get it even better. Backing it across. There's slight hesitation. Again, the bridge is not level yet either with the cork. Track isn't put down, so I'm happy with that. Let's put the other Pennsylvania on and see how that does. All right, here's my other. Let's see how it does. Ooh, much better. Amazing what a little cleaning can do. All right, off to do other things. And another day begins in Thailand. Rainy today, so good day to work on the layout. Ducks and chickens have been fed. I've got my work done, farm related for the morning, do it again in the evening. But I've got my layout lines marked for my outside main and long siding. The siding I will isolate. I'm going to just put in one rail joiner, and I am going to put in a little plastic nubby, a small little piece that I'll super glue in between the rails so that I've got an isolation point, because I don't have any isolators. And I'll see if I can establish a decent gap. Maybe I'll just leave that and maybe just nip a rail ever so slightly, but that's a little bit later. I want to get the cork down, so I'm going to get my tools, and I've got my cork set out already right here for the main line. Then I can come back in and do the siding. That'll be easy enough. So once I get this done for the cork, I'll give you another quick shot. Well, I have the cork down for that outside line. Came back in with my rasp and had to sand down the yard side a little bit so that I got a nice smooth transition. Same over on this side. Sanded it, excuse my shadow, there's definitely only like one light above me in this space. Sanded it down just a little bit again to get a nice smooth transition. You know, when I take this places, floors are not going to be in really good shape probably. I'll put little cardboard underneath, kind of make it level, but the connection between the two tables is a bolt, and that should be rock solid. It's going to be the alignment hole and nice and tight, so everything should line up pretty good. Maybe famous last words, but you know, we'll see. So I'm going to let the cork dry a little bit, and then I'll come back in and reposition my track, change out some sectional track for flex track on that spot over there on the siding, and then add my power feeds. And then from there, I might just continue and do the inside line as well, since I'm right here. But I'll get that outside line done first. The inside line is going to be just a little bit different, because I still want to put passenger station in somewhere. It might just be on the inside of the inside line, rather than having people like crossing tracks a lot to get to a station. It's just not usually how it's done in the real world. There might be a siding behind station sometimes, but you want to keep it safe for people. So anyway, I'll think about that a little bit, but I've still got a little bit more work to do on that. So more here in a little bit. I think I've landed on the track plan that's going to go in through yard / switching area / storage. This is how I think it's going to look. So I've got my back main, and you can see I've got a spot there marked with a B, and I've got there marked with a B and an arrow as well. So that's going to be one track that I'm going to isolate. So I will find some toggles and buy them, and I can like add on just a little piece here, so that I can have, you know, 2 or 3 toggles, so I can isolate a couple of different pieces of the layout. It should be straightforward. The inner main, now when I fitted all of my track, it sort of came in at a little bit of an angle. It's like, that's okay. So I made it come in at an angle. I can have my passenger station on this track, somewhere like right here. Comes in, splits, goes across straight, picks up the other switches, and then rejoins the main going that way. Coming in off that, I've got a series of tracks right here. Now, I do not have them joined as such. So, you know, once I get joiners and I kind of do a little bit more, if I'm happy with this, it'll look better. But you can see I've got switches coming in here for like a siding going to a business, switches here. Again, siding, I'll probably have a bunch of building flats along the backdrop right in this area. And then another one that comes off into here where I can have, again, something else going on. And then I can have buildings of the city, or like on an outskirts of the city, kind of coming in here and then extending over onto the next table before I start getting into the hilly terrain. The through yard track from my cutoff over here comes in around under the bridge, around and then in, and I hit a curved turnout. So it can go either way depending upon what I've got going on the tracks here. Probably, you know, come out from the wider angle, come across, can go, and then re-picks up the, I guess I'll call it sort of a yard lead or a lead before coming back up to the main line. I think this will work. And for a show layout, I don't need it to be very complicated. I'll have plenty of storage for cars so that I can put on for display, you know, doing different things. I can have my secondary train sitting over on that side, and I can bring it out at a later point. I could do the same thing if I wanted. I could have a train maybe here, so I might block that one as well when I get around to doing the wiring. And then maybe isolate this track here and block it so that this is a separate little electrical feed as well. Maybe maybe block that cutoff, you know, put a little block there and put a block over here, although I do have that wired already, so maybe not. I don't think I'm going to need it. I think that one will be all right. So I don't want to make it overcomplicated. I just want trains to run, go through some nice scenery, let the little kids go ooh and ah, and adults and myself sit back, relax, sip a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, and enjoy as people watch this. Yeah, okay. I'm going to see how long this video is. It might be already too long because I've been rambling a little bit. But I will put a train on here and I will test out the track. Even though I don't have the feeds wired in on there, I've got joiners. Same thing on this part of the inner track. I've actually got all of those joined. I might just try to run and see if I can get through there without too many headaches. I'll put in fresh joiners, there'll be power drops. So if I don't get great results through here, I'm not really worried about it because nothing's hooked up yet for this table. But let's put some trains on and let's see what happens. I'm running one of my engines for a little while, but first I had to do a quick change. With this in place, anytime I turned on my power pack, I was getting a dead short. I ended up disconnecting bits and pieces along here until I found it was this switch. Everything else had been running pretty good, and of course it switched. I don't have power down there. So I took this switch completely out and won't use it. Just made me reconfigure a little bit so that I don't have a switch coming from there down to here. What I'll do is I'll make this track probably a team track or something like that. Again, going to an industry. Still have my cutoff coming in and around, and we'll still pick up right where that engine went down and died because there's no joiners there. It's a Bachmann. Its flanges are a little bit big, so it's picking the points and deciding which way it wants to go rather than switch alignments. I will use a very fine set of needle nose pliers and I will kind of make adjustments on this part right there on those switches. Of course, this one is actually nice and wide. It would have been a great one. I'll do some electrical testing on it. It's an older switch, kind of see what it is. But anyway, I will get this running again and give you guys a show. Let's follow it around the layout. This is a little Bachmann old set, probably. Those freight cars are down there, and I have had them behind when I get flex when I hit the bridge, and it uncouples. Because I don't have the track glued down, so I get a little bit of a bow as it hits the bridge, just enough for the couplers to come in. No power feeds in this part of the layout yet, but it's running pretty good through it. Just like I did on the others, I'll add about 2 drops per area. Feeders. And I will get a scale so that I can weight the cars. They are very underweight. I think if I weigh everything the way it should be, I should have pretty good results. Now I will use finger to make sure this stays over. Otherwise, it likes to pick the point and it's dead after it goes there for right now. So there we go, a complete lap around the layout. Now, it's coming across the high line. If I switch it and I let it go, actually, let me see here. Well, it can go a little ways. I will let it go around, and then I'll let it take the cutoff should at least go in and up to the switch, and then after that cack out because I don't have any power. Should go to about there. Swing around and get the switch thrown. On this one, I've got a little piece of plastic wedged under the throw bar so that it will stay, not vibrate when the train crosses it. I will do like what I did on my own, N-scale at home, and of course it, derailment, call out the wrecker. Anyway, you get the idea. This works, it works pretty well, get the kinks out of it, but what I was saying is that on my N scale at home, what I've done is I've taken, get that piece of plastic out from there, yeah, that's all right. I've taken like a little track nail, cut the point off, inserted it from the bottom, super glued it in place, and then I put a little piece of sandpaper on the cork so that when I throw the track, I can throw it through the little throw bar, and that sandpaper grabs the head of the nail so that once I get it in position, it stays and it doesn't move. So I will do that to these switches here as well, and I'll take a little bit of a flat needle nose plier, very small, and make adjustments on these just a little bit on the points. Like this side looks pretty good. This side, bend it out ever so slightly so that I get a little bit bigger gap so the flanges don't pick it and try to run it down the other side of the track. So that'll be something that I'll be working on here fairly soon. But you get an idea. Layout is operational. Now I can come back in and I will do cork on this part. I will do a little bit of cork, at least just through these switches, because that's definitely the place that I want them. And then I will worry about some of this stuff a little bit later, but I'll get that done probably yet today too. But first, time to go eat. So I just came back in and I modified the inner main just to make it a straight shot running through this until it hits the switch to come into the yard slash storage slash switching area here. The reason I did that, because I got thinking, you know, I'm gonna have rail joiners still in place. They're not soldered or anything, but to help guide as I pull the tables together with the bolt from underneath. Every other track meets it at a 90-degree angle to the joint, where the two tables come together on all of them. This one didn't. It met at, you know, like about a 5 to 10 degree angle. So if I were to try to pull everything together, the rail joiners just would not go in. It would buckle. I would have problems here. This one's 90 over here. So I came in and I cut the curve back a little bit so that it's now straight, little segment, and then another piece of straight track. This way, when it pulls together, everything's going to pull together nicely. I can finesse a little bit once I have the bolt, but I've got the bolt and that wing nut, so I can gradually pull things together on all of the tables. So, and that looks better. You know, it's a straight shot through this area here. And I will put the cork in on that here in just a couple of minutes. And I'm getting closer to how I like this. I still might do something different with this track here. I don't know, maybe just let it go straight, bring that switch, and have another side track, kind of like what I've got over here. I will have to think about that, but I can get the cork in for the second main, and then I'll be able to mark it, and I'll be able to get my power drops in, and I should be able to get that wired up soon. But that's going to be on the next episode. This one's long enough. So with that, keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.